You're listening to the Tao of Indifference, sex, dating, and relationship advice for an indifferent world. For more advice and tips, check out taoofindifference.com or follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Tao of Indifference. This is episode 16, and today's topic is Your Dating Survival Toolkit. I am joined today by my co-host, Delaney. Delaney, what's up?
I'm well. How are you?
I can't complain. Before we get into the topic, I'm going to go over some dating questions. And I am reading them directly from Reddit. I'm going to abbreviate them because I don't know if you ever read grammar on the internet. It doesn't exist sometimes. Today's first question is, how to tell if she's interested. I've recently decided to ask out a girl who has liked me for a while. However, recently she hasn't seemed as interested as before. How do I tell if she still likes me? Here's some more details. One of my friends just revealed to me that he asked her on Thursday about me, and she said that she had wanted something to happen before, but now she isn't so sure. One more thing. Last year she was interested in me for a while, then she stopped, and then she resumed again a month or two ago. I don't know if that information helps, but I thought you should know. Okay. I'm going to answer this. She's definitely not interested in you. If she is interested in you, she is the type of person where her interests wane and wax and wane, like the moon. Moons wax and wane. So she's not. If she is interested in you, you don't want to pursue that person, because this is a person who really isn't all that concerned about consistency in her affection, and you might have missed your shot because you waited a very long time. Lainey, your thoughts?
I think she may be the kind of girl that she wants what she can't have, and once you show that you want her back, she's going to be less interested. So, and then if you start to show that you're not interested, all of a sudden her attention is going to come right back to you. So I think it's going to be the cat and mouse game with her.
So would you pursue it? If it was you and you're in that situation, would you pursue the cat and mouse game?
No.
Yeah.
No, I would let it go and move on to something else.
There we go. I agree. I'm of the mind that you should just let it go, like the Frozen song. Has your daughter seen Frozen?
She wants to be Elsa.
Of course she does.
Anytime she's like, do my braid like Elsa.
You know how to braid hair?
No.
Oh, God.
She keeps telling me I should.
You should learn how to braid hair if you haven't. Delaney has a daughter.
Yes.
He's a parent. All right. Question number 2, in no particular order. The subject is, already in a long-term relationship, but I am an emotional mess over someone else. I thought I'd just post the main points down below and see how it goes. Here they are. Been in a relationship for 4 years. Still young, but not living together. Started a new job, and there is a lady in the same office as me who I cannot stop thinking about. We are pretty much the same age, with me being slightly older. Our conversations just flow like a river, and I enjoy seeing her laugh. Sometimes we share a stare that does not feel at all awkward. The problem is that she has a boyfriend and is living with him. That might be the problem, is that you think that that's the problem. No judgment. They have been together for about a year. It gets to me when she talks about the way her boyfriend treats her. So, should I risk my current relationship and let the girl know how I feel? Cheers, guys. Okay, oh man, this is going to take some dissembling.
Wow.
Tell me about it. Alright, so, you're already in a long-term relationship and an emotional mess over someone else. First, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, person that you wrote this, and say that what you might be experiencing, because you say you're young, I don't know how old, but because you're young, this might just be an infatuation, this might be a crush. People have those when they're in relationships. That's not something to necessarily end a relationship over. The fact that you don't mention any details about your relationship other than that you both are young and don't live together, and that you've been together for 4 years, makes me assume that there's not necessarily anything wrong with your relationship. Maybe you're not, it doesn't sound like you're unhappy in your relationship. It sounds more like you have a crush on an attractive person who you have good conversations with. So, should you risk your current relationship? It sounds to me like when you say risk your current relationship, the fact that you say risk is very telling. Because most people ask if they should end a current relationship. And if you're at the point where you're asking if you should end a current relationship, 9 times out of 10 the answer is yes. The fact that you're saying risk your current relationship makes it sound like you really need to put this crush into perspective. Is this something you want to end a relationship over? If you're at the point where a crush is going to make you end a relationship, you really should evaluate how happy you are in the relationship, why you're even at the point where just because someone's attractive and you have a good conversation with them, you would want to end a relationship. The poster didn't mention anything about the conversations with their partner are bad.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't mention anything about staring at, not staring at someone and not being attracted to them. So it just sounds like when you're new and to dating and relationships and you've been with the one person for 4 years, you get sort of restless and want to see what else is out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Honestly, it's like a half answer. But if you want to pursue something with this person, you need to end your current relationship. It sounds like you're not trying to end this current relationship. It really sounds like you just want to tell this person at who you, I guess, work with, right? Yeah. This person you work with that you're attracted to them and would like to hook up with them and like maybe date them. If you're going to do that, you should end your relationship. It's not a risk. It's either you're in a relationship or you're not. You shouldn't pursue this person and you both are in a relationship. You both need to end your relationship if you're going to do it. What are your thoughts?
Well, because he said he was young, so I think that's very common. Like, say, I don't know, he's 21, just hypothetically, and he's with the same girl since high school. I think that tends to happen a lot when you're with the same girl, then you become an adult, and then the adult life seems very appealing, and all of a sudden a 30-year-old women are interested in you, and you're just like, wow, I've been with the same girl since I was 17. What would that be like?
Yeah.
And I would say you're going to be disappointed. Not to say you will be disappointed, but I went through the same thing where I felt like I needed to be single to just be with every kind of woman, all kinds of women, so I could just experience that. And it's not as satisfying as you think it is. It's always going to look better when you're on the opposite side.
Grass is greener?
Yeah, the grass is greener. But the whole risk thing, I feel like he still cares about his girlfriend. Right. So it doesn't sound like you should end it. It sounds more like maybe you and your girlfriend should talk about maybe the fire died out, maybe you need to rekindle it, or, go to therapy or other things.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion. Yeah. All right, so, long story, we don't know.
Yeah.
We've given you advice. We can't tell you what to do. And it sounds like this person really wants people to answer them. And, no one has responded to this person on Reddit. That's sad. I'm going to type up something.
Okay.
Later. Not right now. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I want to give this guy advice. All right. Question number, I think, 3. I don't know how to count. Subject is, I share too much of myself. How do I play it cool without being cold? This one, we do know how old they are, which is always a huge help. 22-year-old female interested in a 23-year-old male. Backstory is pretty simple. We met a few weeks ago, but during exam time, assuming they're in college, when he didn't have much time, we met a few weeks ago, but during exam time when he didn't have much time, so we said we'd have a date during the new year. They posted this 18 hours ago. So
okay.
It's not like a year old. I find that in person I'm totally fine, charming, funny, smart, etc. I can tell he's attracted to me because I'm attracted to me. Newly found confidence. Good for her. But over text, I lose my power. Not saying it's about having the upper hand in dating, but I like to preserve my mystery. I'm an impulsive, honest, emotional person, so I text exactly what I feel. It's not always something I should be telling someone I just met. Oof. In order to feel better about this, when we start hanging out again, should I, A, tell him to call me if he wants to talk? How do I say it? I'm better on the phone. B, be a little dry while texting and try to hold back. Moist. C, start the new year ignoring him a little bit and allowing him to just make all the moves. What's important to me here is I want to learn how to get to know people properly instead of rushing into intimacy, emotional or otherwise. I want to take my time getting to know people and not sharing more of myself than they do and left feeling a little empty. I have high expectations of how people respect me. I want to be clear about them without being unpleasant about it. Okay, wow, that is a dense question. So let's answer the actual. Let's answer the actual question, and then we'll break down the question, the post itself. So, in order to feel better about this when we start hanging out, should I tell him to call me if he wants to talk, be a little dry while texting, C, start the new year ignoring him? I'm going to go A, because you have to be honest about the type of person you are. If you're much better on the phone, why, and you like this person, like, she clearly is into him, and she's worried about how she comes off in text, and, like, maybe shares too much. Why would you pretend to be something you're not? Because eventually you have to stop being that. Mm-hmm. You can't pretend you're that type of person. So just be like, hey, I'm not really good over text. Can we call me on the phone? You want to set up plans? Maybe it's just a 5-minute call. You know, I hate talking on the phone. My girlfriend enjoys talking on the phone because she's weird. And so, like, I'll talk to her on the phone because she would prefer to talk on the phone, like, if it's something important. Mm-hmm. And we both know I'd rather not be on the phone, but it's sometimes you just have to, you know, talk on the phone because one person's better over the phone. And, you know, I'm very sarcastic and dry, if you won't, like the girl said. So, over the phone, it goes over a lot better than just plain text. And on the other hand, you know, sometimes you don't want to hear people say, I really enjoy spending time with you and get all gushy over text. It makes sense. Would you agree? You can nod it. You can disagree.
Well, no, I would go with A because the other two options sounds like she's going against her natural instinct.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, should I do this? Like, speaking on the phone seems like the most natural thing to do and something that, because you want to preserve your character and all this stuff, like, doing other things that's not you, it's, in the long run, it's not gonna work out with this guy if he thinks that you're just blowing him off out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So, I think on the phone is showing that you're interested, but you also telling him how you like things to be done.
Right.
So I think calling you on the phone is a lot more attractive. If someone says, call me on the phone, I don't want to text you. I'm like, oh, okay, I like this.
Yeah. Agreed. So, now, she didn't even ask, but I just want to go over, like, everything that she talks about. First, and this is just general advice for people. For starters, if you're interested in someone and you're not actually dating them yet, no matter how good they sound to you on paper and how much you know about them, you really shouldn't make any declarations about how much you're into them if you're not actually dating yet. It just is a bad thing to do, and, you know, hopefully if she talks to this person on the phone, she'll be less inclined to text those things. With that said, I think it's awesome that this is a 22-year-old girl who has, like, newly found confidence, and she just needs to move forward with that. And that was it. I mean, she said a lot, but I think she's being smart about dating. So
yeah.
I enjoyed that. It's usually not the case. Good for her. All right. This one, I love the subject. I did not read the question, so if I stumble over some of the grammar, please excuse me. I might have friend-zoned myself. 21-year-old man, male. So I have a housemate, let's call him John. John has a girlfriend, let's call her Jill. I mean, come on, guy. On occasion, when Jill visits John, Jill brings her friend, let's call her Sarah. Whenever Sarah comes over, they call me down for drinks. Just to point out, Jill only calls me down even though we have 4 other housemates. Alright, I'm intrigued. So I come down and realize that Sarah's this drop-dead gorgeous girl that went to my high school. We exchange words every now and then, but we've never actually talked until tonight. When the night winds down, Sarah goes home and Jill stays over with John. The 4 of us start hanging out more often, and I've noticed whenever we laugh, I catch Sarah looking at me, which leads to this long but comfortable moments of eye contact. The exact opposite from the last question. Or no, this is the exact same. People are really good at eye contact. One night, we're all in my room watching a movie. Side note, my room has a couch and bed. Me and Sarah are on the bed while John and Jill are on the couch. Before the movie, Sarah asked me if she can sleep on my couch once John and Jill go to John's room, and I said, sure. Oh god, this is going to take a turn. Fast forward to after the movie. Sarah falls asleep in my bed, so thinking it'd be creepy awkward if I slept beside her, I decided to sleep on the couch that night. This is also the case in following nights where she asks me if she can stay the night, and I offer her my bed and I sleep on the couch. Oh, God. I feel pain. Anyway, now I was always attracted to Sarah but never acted on it due to the fact that I didn't think I had a chance. But apparently the idea of Sarah and I dating came up in a conversation with Sarah and Jill, and Sarah told Jill not to force it. I want it to happen naturally. Also, I don't have Sarah's number, so the only time I talk to her is when she comes over with Jill. Can somebody give me insight on my situation? Did I friend zone myself by sleeping on the couch? What should I do? Is she interested? Oh my God,
That's long.
Oh man, he's killing me. All right, to answer the basic question.
You say he's 21?
I'm 21.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, poor kid. I just want to like take him under my wing now. Man. Anyway, did you friend zone yourself? Absolutely not. You have not friend zoned yourself. It's literally impossible to friend zone yourself in the way that you're describing it. You can put yourself in the friend zone, but what you're doing isn't putting yourself in the friend zone in the way you describe it. What you're doing is implying that you're not attracted to this girl in that way, or you don't want to move quickly unless you have a clear indication that this girl's attracted to you. What he's really doing is he's obviously attracted to her, but he's let himself assume that she isn't into him, even though all the signs are pointing to like her being into him and like sleeping in his bed, where it's like,
and asking to sleep in his room.
well, she has to sleep in the sofa, but then it's like, oh, I fell asleep on your bed.
Yeah.
And it's, and I hate to do this because on the one hand, I'm all about consent, but on the other hand, I'm all about spontaneity. But at this point, no, she didn't friend zone you, but what should you do? You should ask her if she's interested in you. I mean, it's pretty clear, unless there's something we're missing that's left out of the story, it's very clear that she's interested in this guy. She continues to say, can I spend the night in your room? I mean, to be fair, I've had female friends when I was that age come over to my apartment, spend the night, ask to sleep on the sofa, and like they weren't interested. But there's some crucial things that are left out of my scenario that are in this scenario, namely that this happens a lot, and it just so happens that you guys basically are doing double dates in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Like this, everything was set up for this guy to like ask her out, and he's gotta make a move. He's gotta get some testicular fortitude together and ask her out. That's it. He's gotta ask her out, I think. I think it's as simple as that. She's definitely still interested if she continues to come over, even though to be fair, it doesn't sound like he's ruined his chances. It sounds like he comes off as like a very slow-moving, gentlemanly type. And most people appreciate that. Yeah. Would you agree?
To answer the 3 questions, I would say no, you didn't friend zone yourself. And yes, she's still interested. And what was the other question?
What should I do?
I think maybe next time she's coming over, have I don't know, some wine or something on the side. Set the mood up so
make it a little more romantic.
Yeah, make it a little romantic. So that way you'd feel a lot more comfortable, and then she probably would appreciate that the fact that you didn't just sleep with her immediately, that you waited and then you set up the mood. So then it'll probably make it that much more better.
So romantic.
You gotta be. You gotta.
So charmed right now. Charming your way in my pants. All right, next question. I think this is the last one.
Okay.
Oof, that long-term relationship one. Oof.
That 4-year one?
Oh, God. Oh, man. All right. I have a crush on this guy with so many questions. 22-year-old female, 21-year-old male. Whenever anyone says I'll keep it short and sweet, it's never short and sweet. It's always like, what? Anyway, I'm reading the question now. I'll try and keep this short and only get into detail if anyone asks. But I met this guy on OkCupid. We were texting for about 2 weeks before we met up. We had gotten really comfortable over texting, and we both admitted we liked each other. So I had kind of built my hopes up. No, mistake number 1. The date went well. We were both obviously flirting, but it got cut short because he got a call that his mom was in the hospital, which I do believe because he had mentioned her being sick in passing before. He did text the day after, and we kept up texting for the next 4 or 5 days, but something was definitely a little different, and then it just kind of stopped abruptly, whereas before he would text me at first every single day. I was the last one to try and initiate a conversation, but I haven't heard from him in 3 weeks. Kind of can't stop thinking about him, which is silly, I know, but what can you do? Is it too late to salvage anything? How would I do it? Should I bother? Any clue why he just stopped talking to me? Please help me answer life's questions. Okay. Ooh, this is a good one. All right. I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to respond.
Okay.
Is it too late to salvage anything?
3 weeks is a long time. I would.
It's a long time.
I would say yes. It is too late, but to not be to not get down on yourself about it if you're considering like this was a lost opportunity, because you never know, because of everything that's going on with his mom. It could have been a death in the family, and he may not. He's 21, and anyone who loses their mom is not going to be like stable mentally. So if he did lose his mom, then I think it's give him some time, and maybe just have the idea in your head that it's too late. But if it does come back around, then take it from there. Yeah, but in your head, I think she should move on for now. That doesn't mean move on to another person. Just let it go for now and see if it makes its way back into your life.
Cool. Good answer. Yeah. Is it too late to salvage anything? 100%. It's past. It was too late like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago it was too late. He was already checked out. He wasn't that into it. Like, and that gets back to when I was like reading it and I cringed a couple times because that's the hugest mistake that people do. Not just women, but people. You have this great connection, but it's online. And like your conversations are going, so you're having a lot of conversations and you're building up, and you think you're building up like our connection, but all you're building up is, you're not really building up so much as using up a certain number of conversations you can have. And it also makes when you text somebody so much early on before you meet them, it makes it harder for you not harder for you so much as it gives you unrealistic expectations when you haven't. I mean, when it comes down to it, the conversations you have with a girl or guy can only take you so far, and no matter how not superficial you are, if there's no chemistry, if you're not attracted to the person in person, it's like, like, oh, that's a good friend.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference between the people you're attracted to versus your friends? You want to have good conversations with both, but one of them you want to hook up with, and the other ones you're like, no, they're just nice to talk to. And I can't even address, like, should you bother, all that. No, I'm not even going to address it. It was over 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks had passed. He's not. I don't think anything happened. Like, I'm hopefully his mom's okay, but
yeah,
it still wouldn't matter. Like, even if the mom died, even if she didn't die, or he's not into her. He wasn't into her 3 weeks ago, and he slowly was like, yeah, I'm done. He slowly like petered out with the texting. So
yeah.
And that's that.
Okay.
And that's me. You were way more hopeful.
Yeah.
So much more of a pessimist when it comes to that. Because it's just like, she also said, but you gotta think, the thing that stood out to me was they were texting a lot before the date, which is always a bad sign. You want to say, great, can't wait to meet you, looking forward to seeing you. And then text another reminder like a couple days before the date. Hey, just want to make sure we're still on. Text the day of the date. Hey, we're still good to go. I'll let you know if I'm going to be running late. And then after the date, maybe then you text a bit more. Like you build up their frequency. But you're putting the cart before the horse. It's like, let's build up this great like rapport before we actually see if we want to be around each other after our first date.
Yeah.
And then he probably felt bad, because I've done that, and I learned from it. This isn't just like me just saying, oh, this is what you should do. I've actually done it, where I'd be texting, and I'm like, oh, man, I can't wait to meet this girl. We have such a great connection. Like, we talk so much. And then you meet him, and you're like, oh, no. So, all right, that's it for questions. I hope you're all enlightened. Let us go to the Dating Survival Toolkit. Just so you know, I didn't put it in the article. This is based on the article I just wrote. But these principles are actually based on like Taoist principles.
Okay.
Which are just like life survival kit. But it helps with dating too. So, number 1. Be selfish and be selfless. So, what I mean by that is sometimes when it comes to dating and in life, you need to occasionally be selfish. And a great example for me is when I used to go on dates and I would just, like, if I was having a bad date, this person sucked, I'm sitting there and the date's wrapping up, I know I'm not going to go on another date with this person. I personally think they're a terrible person. This has happened a bunch of times. And at the end of the date, I would pay for it. I would pay for the whole thing. Why? What was the point? At what point does being a gentleman become financially viable as a way to live? So, the thing that I started doing was, if I had no interest in ever seeing this person again, I would be selfish and say, "Oh yeah, let's split this." Because why? I want to protect my own money.
Yeah.
Another good example. I was just thinking about that because I didn't put it in the article, but it's you gotta be selfish sometimes because dating sucks. And you should also be selfish with your time, because a flip side of that is my girlfriend just told me about a date she went on where she shows up for the date, the guy's already there drinking, and it's at a bar, and he has a drink in his hand. So she orders a drink, and then she assumes that the guy's going to pay for the first drink at minimum. He doesn't pay for it. And she's kind of like, "Oh, I don't want to date a guy who's not going to buy me a first drink on a first date, but I'll stick around." Second round comes around. He doesn't pay. He doesn't offer to pay for it or anything. And now she's like, "Oh man, I'm stuck on this date." Should have just left. Be selfish with your time. No, I'm done. No, I'm done is one of the greatest feelings you can have. And on the flip side, sometimes you need to be selfless. Case in point, I love video games. And you are well aware we were playing video games earlier.
Yeah.
I love video games so much. I could spend 30 hours over 2 days playing video games. Sleeping only 10 hours in between. The other time I'm spending looking for food. But my point is that I can play video games all day. However, it's not really conducive for a healthy relationship to constantly be playing video games. Sometimes I need to give up the thing that I really enjoy to spend time with my girlfriend. So, in order to be good at dating, you cannot be one or the other. You need to be both. And that's what I mean by that. What is the thing that you were selfish about?
What I'm selfish about?
Absolutely. And you're okay with. One thing that you're selfish about that you're actually okay with.
Wow.
Do you have one? Yeah,
I feel like there is something I am selfish about with the.
Is it about not eating meat?
No. I would say I'm high maintenance in a way.
I could see that.
I don't like when Akila curses around me. So I would say I'm selfish in kind of language I like to hear, and because we live together. So I'm I every time she curses I get upset with her, and I'm like, please don't do that, or
okay, all right. I don't know if it's high maintenance so much as you're very particular about how to be addressed.
And I'm selfish about noise volume in the apartment. I'm just you're talking too loud. Can you lower your voice?
God, you're like a grandmother.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm never living with you.
But selfless.
How are you selfless?
Selfless. Anytime I feel like a friend, family, or anyone needs anything of me, or strangers, I'm always willing to do it.
That is true. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2, do no harm. And what I mean by that is willfully doing harm. Dating has a lot of, there's a lot of pain involved in dating, because you have to reject someone eventually. Most people don't end up with the first person they meet. But you try not to willfully be a bad person and avoid harming people on purpose. And a lot of time, or prolonging it, or pacing it out, or sort of being selfish about not wanting to reject people, so you make them sort of reject you, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be a shitty person, and then...
I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, most people do because it's easy, Yeah. So sometimes, not harming people is being really open and honest and saying, I'm not into you, or I'm not into this anymore. So. All right, number 3, be indifferent to the world's indifference. Do you believe in soulmates?
Not really.
Yeah, me neither. Do you believe in... No, I mean, I'm just going to ask. I already know the answer. Do you believe that there is a higher power out there who has preordained the person that you will eventually be with?
No.
What about a higher power sending a good person to you?
Like,
oh, this...
like
God put this
me
person in my life.
or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
God put this beautiful person in my life.
Not really?
Not really.
Yeah.
Me either. I don't believe in
Yeah.
it at all. Like, to zero extent. But a lot of people do, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We know people who think that God put so-and-so in their life for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. It's a belief system. Cool. But the thing is that outside of you and whatever deity you worship, the world doesn't care. The world doesn't care that so-and-so was perfect for you.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. So what people need to do, and something that I try to do, is sort of put it all into perspective. If you do believe in soulmates, at one point I did believe in soulmates. I was a naive boy. If you do believe in soulmates, you should just put it into perspective that you can't force someone to be your soulmate. If it is meant to be, it will actually be. If it's not meant to be, it won't. So you really need to learn to not care that things aren't aligning perfectly the way you want them to. The world doesn't care about your perfect plan and your perfect person. If they're meant to be in your life, they're going to fall in your life if you believe in that sort of system. If you don't believe in that system, you need to understand that the universe isn't going to give you a good person. You need to go out and find that person.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's really just, you can't force existence into what you want it to be. You can't just make your magic person sent from God appear.
It really does sound like Taoism.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's the Tao of indifference.
Yeah.
It wasn't a coincidence. All right. Embrace confusion. So, how many times would you say that you've been in an argument because you just thought one thing, or you thought your girlfriend meant one thing?
That's pretty much all my arguments.
It's literally all my arguments.
That's any argument.
I think I argue about semantics more than anything else with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what I try to do is embrace it. It's like, there's going to be confusion. You don't have to say, well, we're confused and I'm happy about it. But you do need to understand that if you're dating, no matter if you're in a relationship, you're married, you're just dating, meeting new people, there's going to be some confusion.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're the type that frets over every little miscommunication and just puts weight into everything, it will slowly weigh you down and just make you a very unhappy person. So, embrace it. Just say, you know what? It's bound to happen. I know what I think, but I will never know 100% what this person thinks and why they think that way and where they got that train of thought and all that. So, now we're getting to the ones I really like. It's in the order of how much I like them.
Okay.
It's not random. Realize that each experience is unique. And what I mean by that is a lot of people fall into the trap of, I never meet nice people. I never meet people that are good for me, and I never meet this. And it becomes one long story of these 5 people that I met aren't 5 individual people, but they are the larger thought, the larger idea, and I'm bad at dating. And it really becomes self-fulfilling when you say, hey, do you want to meet so-and-so? No, I'm bad at dating. They're probably not going to like me, or they're not going to be into me, or if I meet them, they're going to be like, it's not going to work out. It becomes this whole, you take all the pieces that are individual pieces, because each individual person you date is not tied to the next person. They're separate experiences. And for me, I know that I think everyone has been through it where they think, oh man, these individual instances are really this is what it is. I went on a stretch where I didn't go on a good date for 6 months. And I just thought, maybe it's, maybe I'm just not good at dating. Maybe I suck at dating,
Yeah.
And it has less to do with that and just, it's random. It's a dice game, There's only so many times that, statistically speaking, you can lose hundreds of times in dating. I would hope not. I would hope that people are listening and learning. But if you take each individual experience as a unique experience, you tend to not get stuck when things don't work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of the point, is that you should use that. If you think of, well, this date sucked, but whatever, we're on a different date. That's a whole new, fresh start.
Yeah. Like with new eyes each time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Approach it with new eyes. I
Yeah.
like that. Man, you should... I'll make you write an article at some point. All right. Don't let your presumptions hold you back. Stop reading.
Okay.
Stop looking at my notes.
Okay. It's right there.
I know. And what I mean by that is, and I alluded to it earlier, but if you think that you're not good enough for someone, you'll never be good enough for them.
Mm-hmm. Like the 22-year-old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you think that, you know, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not good looking, you're not tall enough, you're right. You are always right. If you have a negative thought, you are right.
Yeah.
You are right up until you don't believe it anymore. That's it. Do you believe in the power of positive thinking?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Yes, I do.
You're a very positive person, so it's not surprising. All right. We are approaching the stretch. I didn't tell you how many there were. There are 8. We're at 7.
Okay.
Know what you want and realize you can't always get it. I mean, I don't think I need to explain that to you. Yeah. You know, it's 100%. Dating is not in your hands all the time. You can know what you want, and that's actually a really big part of dating. You should really know what you want, like not just what looks good or what people want me to date. And you should really understand that knowing what you want is only half of it, and then who you want. You want some water?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm like a bartender. Knowing what you want is great, but getting what you want isn't always in your hands. You can only do so much, but someone can say no. And I'm a big believer that, if you realize that you can't always get what you want, you definitely don't go through life with a feeling of entitlement. And no one, I think, has ever thought that entitlement was sexy. And you become more attractive when you're someone who says, okay, you're not into me, no worries. Yeah. You know, it's fine. You know, you're my type. You're perfect in every way for me, but I understand that you're not into me, and that's cool. And it applies to life. You cannot always get what you want. There's always that perfect job that you thought you'd be perfect for, but you didn't get it. And you can't let those things hold you back. And so I'm a big believer in just, finally, number 8, learning to be content. And all of these feed into that. Contentment really is a big, big driver of your own happiness. I mean, if you're happy with what you have, no matter what you have, you're going to be much more fun to date and much more fun to be around. If you're someone who goes on a date and complains constantly, people aren't going to be attracted to it. Now, I'm not saying that if you're content, you should not be ambitious or moving forward in your life, but you should be happy with what you have and not... You can be happy with what you have and still want more. Yeah. And you don't have to be unhappy with what you have and want more. Like, people tend to do, well, you know, I hate my apartment, I want a bigger apartment. Whereas I'm speaking for me, I have a tiny apartment and I love it. My rent's super cheap. And I want a bigger apartment. Oh, I'm content. You know, I'm okay with my apartment. It's great.
I mean, I'm in the reverse situation. The rent is cheap, but the landlord is not very good at his job.
But would you say that you are content with your life?
I am.
Even though you want more?
Even though I want more. But in a way, I want less. Which is, I think I want, like you said, I'm a grandma. I want less.
You're a grandma?
Well, that's what you said about the whole, telling Akila if she can be quiet or no cursing.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I want. I want less convenience. Is that a word? Convenience? Convenience. Less convenience. I don't want to be surrounded by so much noise and lights. I think sometimes, maybe like Taoism, sometimes you need to embrace nature, and that means moving away from, industrialism and...
Oh, wow. This got deep, man. Are you content with your dating life? As in, are
Definitely. Definitely. Even though I don't always get what I want, or sometimes, sometimes I get what I want, but that's not what I really wanted. I wanted to hear a no. Like sometimes I want you to tell me no. I don't want you to always tell me yes, because that becomes super boring, and I don't want to always get what I want, because then I feel like a brat.
Yeah. But you're happy even though you don't always get what you want.
Exactly. I am.
So would you say that you're surviving dating?
I am surviving dating. I'm approaching each of our confusing moments or arguments or disagreements, trying to be calm and collective.
Cool.
But I'm not always. I'm not
fair. I mean, that's fair. That's awesome. All right. That is it. Thank you very much for being a good host. I'm going to read my closeout in my stentorian voice. All right, listeners, be sure to subscribe to the Tao of Indifference on iTunes, YouTube, or Stitcher. You can follow us on Twitter at indifferent_D. You should like us on Facebook. I would appreciate it very much, and I will high-five you when I see you. And as always, good luck out there, and bye.